Homespun House. I am your host, Molly, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join me. I want to apologize for the millionth time. I'm still sick. I feel like I've been sick for months, but I'm just so exhausted and so stuffed up. I can't breathe at all. I won't go on about that, and I'm coughing all the time. I'm so thankful that we have a 4-day weekend ahead of us. Today, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday obviously is all off, so I'm really looking forward to that and needing it. Last episode, I talked about the fact that I was having no knitspiration. I wanted to knit so bad, and there were so many things that I wanted to have 5 million things casted on, basically. But for some reason, nothing was intriguing me. Nothing was getting me really excited about knitting. There was nothing that I wanted to knit, and that was so sad, because I wanted to be creative and I wanted to be knitting constantly, which I was that week. You had seen that I knit, I think, 13 squares on my Cozy Memories blanket, and I knit a little bit on a sock. I got quite a bit of knitting done, but I wanted to cast on a million different new projects, which didn't happen, and it didn't happen last week either. Last week was a pretty busy week, but anyway, so after I mentioned that in the last episode, I got a lot of comments and a lot of really cool, pretty pattern ideas for cardigans and sweaters that I can possibly knit for Elodie for the fall season. And I am almost positive that I'm going to take one of those suggestions, because they were really good, beautiful, pretty ideas. A lot of them were cardigans and sweaters that I've never seen before. I know some of you mentioned that something that you do when you aren't inspired by anything you're seeing is you just go on Ravelry and you browse through the patterns and you search for maybe a couple of hours until you find something that is really pulling at you to knit, or you go on Instagram and you look through your feed and you see what other people are knitting and working on, and those sort of things inspire you. Or Pinterest, there are so many different good ideas. But Amanda and a couple of other people mentioned, and I really liked this, is why not work on other crafts? Maybe you have to take a knitting break, and that doesn't mean stop knitting. It means maybe keep your simpler projects. Like for me, keep those vanilla socks that you're always working on, and keep that cozy memory blanket that when you want to knit, those are just the go-to things that you can be knitting on. And work on other crafts, which kind of ties in perfectly, because our next knit along is a handcraft along, and it's anything but knitting. And I know exactly what I'm going to do for that. Obviously, I'll be sewing, but I don't have the pattern printed out yet. But I wanted to show you all what I will be making. So there's the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And I know that in, oh goodness, I think it's February that they launched the kind of like Once Upon a Time calendar. And I intended so much to do this, but I got way behind. Come February is when I got behind, because I think that was our shawl knit along. And I was way too caught up in my shawl that I stopped really doing all of my handcraft, which was, except for knitting, which was really sad. And I haven't really done any of that since I've started working at my new job, which was in February as well. So a lot of those other crafts beside knitting really got set on the burner, and I think that's so sad because it's a huge part of my life. I used to cross stitch so much as I'm knitting, and I used to sew a lot, but I feel like since April and May, maybe these last 2 months, I haven't been sewing at all, really. Mostly since I started my new job, it's really been on the back burner. And like I said, I just feel bad. I used to do so much embroidery. I used to do these really pretty positive embroidery signs that were really vintage looking, and they were surrounded by flowers. And I'm looking at one right now that's hanging in my kitchen. Maybe I'll share a couple of my old cross stitch and embroidery projects with you guys next week, because next week we'll be kicking off on Sunday, actually, this upcoming Sunday, we'll be kicking off our handcraft along, and I'm really excited for that. I'm excited to have a really good reason to be working on projects that also are not knitting. I love knitting. It's my favorite handcraft, but I want to be doing some other things too now that summer's coming along, and have some lighter pieces of work to be working on, and not these big heavy woolen sweaters or blankets or shawls, which I will be doing some knitting projects, don't worry. But I would like to have another handcraft to focus on. And anyway, so back to the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. You know, this is really funny because Sherilyn Carbon Soup, she has the Fiber Pigeonhole podcast, which is a really wonderful podcast. You should check it out. She also has a Ravelry group, and I'm a member of her Ravelry group. So if you look at my groups, you'll find it easily. And she sent me this pattern, which is so crazy because she actually sent me it a couple of months ago, but as a gift. It was sent to an email that I almost never check. And I just saw that she gifted me this pattern yesterday. And I feel so terrible, but I was so excited. I was really, really excited when I saw this in my inbox. So this is the one that I'm going to be working on. It's called the Tea Time cross stitch pattern. And this is how it looks. It is so totally me. I saw this pattern floating around all on Instagram, and I loved it. I loved it. She has another one, an ABC sampler. Stunning. They are so totally up my alley, and I just think it's adorable that she saw this pattern and thought of me. So here is a different picture of it. But this will be one of the things that I will be working on next month. And I'm really excited to be working on it. So Amanda, I'm really happy that you brought that up. I know it's something that I needed to do, is work on other handcrafts, and it was something that I planned. But just for you to kind of, say that again, maybe you need to be focusing on other things, quilting, cross-stitching, other handcrafts, and then knitting will fall in your hands, and specific patterns will fall in your hands, and you'll be inspired to work on those, which I know I will. And I'm so excited. You guys have no idea. I'm so excited for this upcoming handcraft along. I'm happy that I finished my socks way ahead of time, and I've just realized that I don't have my pair of socks for my grandpa with me. Yeah, that stinks. But I'm halfway finished with them, and they're coming along lovely. I'm doing the Fish Lips Kiss heel again. And yeah, so I've already finished with my socks for the knit along. And there are so many of you it seems like the entries are piling in right now, which is so fantastic, because the knit along ends Saturday at midnight, the 31st of May. So that's just... I've loved how many people have been involved in it. Another thing that I wanted to mention, so my craft alongs, or knit alongs, which is what they've been so far, there's always been a thread in Ravelry where you can discuss the knit along, and then there's always a photo thread where you then enter your finished object to win a prize. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and I've decided that for our podcast, I don't think it's the best thing. I noticed that with this knit along and with a couple of past knit alongs that I've had, there are a lot of people who are really involved in the group, and they're involved with talking with others in the discussions, and they're involved with cheering other people on, and they're involved because they're knitting their own item for the knit along. But they maybe don't finish their socks, their shawl, whatever the knit along be, in time. I think that is just unfair. And I don't like that idea anymore. I think the people who are knitting along together are the people who I will include in the knit along. So this next knit along, there will be a finished photo thread just to show off those items, but that will not be the where I draw the winners from. I will not even use that to draw my winners. I will use that from the discussion thread, because I want people to win who are actually involved and who are spending time talking with others and being excited with others and enjoying the whole process. I don't want it to be that you have to finish your item in order to win, if that makes any sense. If you have questions, write them in this episode's thread and I'll answer. So I hope that all made sense. I hope you understand. You do not have to finish your, even for this one, even for this sock knit along, the rules are just kind of shifting. At this moment, I will now be picking the winners from the finished photo thread, but even if you have one sock that's finished, post it in the finished photo thread, please. You don't have to have a pair, as long as you've been cheering others on and knitting along, post it. I want you to be included as well. So, on to my works in progress. I've been so busy this week that I don't even know if I've knit anything on my Cozy Memories blanket. I did. Okay, good. So last episode, I had just had this cast on. I had the first row of it knit. And I finished it. It still needs to be seamed together. I love this purple, this plum. It's really pretty. It's definitely a color. I would love to have a shawl out of it. I think it's really beautiful. So that's my Cozy Memories blanket. We are visiting some family this evening, and I hope that once all of the kiddos go to sleep, I have a little bit of time to knit on my Cozy Memories blanket. I think this will be the project that I take with me. And then I will take with me, I showed you all this last week, but I will take this little yarn from Miriam, because she has so many fun different yarns. And something that I've done with this yarn that I haven't done with any of the other packages I've received is I haven't read the notes attached to the yarn. These are what from yarn I already used, that's why it's not attached anymore. But I haven't read the notes attached to the yarn until I knit with it. So I'm waiting. It's kind of just like a fun surprise thing. So I'll take this, I'll take the yarn that Miriam, you sent me, and I'll take my Cozy Memories blanket. And I look forward to that. I really, really look forward to that. Also, I wanted to mention, while there is no Cozy Memories knit along going on or anything along those lines, I have set up in the group a thread for talking about our Cozy Memories blankets and sharing stories. And then there's also, no one has joined in on this thread yet, but there is also a swap thread where you can send mini skeins to other people, but you will be swapping with them. So you can post that you want to swap. Just post. I want to post 3 mini skeins to 3 different people. So you send 9 mini skeins out. 3 to one person, 3 to another, 3 to the next. and you can surprise someone, or you can chatter about specific yarn that you want to send, or maybe specific yarn you want to try. And tomorrow, Friday, I want to swap some stuff. So be looking for that. So Friday, I will have a couple of mini skeins that I want to swap, but you have to go into the thread to do it. First come, first serve as well. Like I said, I've been knitting on my socks, but I don't have them with me, which is a huge bummer. The next thing that I have really, really, really been working on, and am so close to being finished with, so close, is my shawl. The shawl that I'm designing. I recaked the yarn that I had last week was pretty big. It was still a bit of the skein. And I'm using the Decadently Divine sock yarn in her Decadent Sock superwash base. It's 100% superwash wool, merino, and it's in the Squash Blossom colorway. I love this color. It's so beautiful. I love the tones to it. I was really nervous that when I changed my hair from red to blonde, or a blondish, it will be blonder, that it wouldn't make sense. But I think it will be fine. I love it. I think it's absolutely stunning. And I'm so pleased with the way my shawl is turning out. There's something so satisfying about writing and creating a design yourself. I've heard designers talking about it, that they're like your little babies, and sure, that's a really big exaggeration, but it is very exciting. It's so exciting. I could scream sometimes, just because I'm so happy to be making something that's 100% me. So I can't share the shawl anymore with you. I will not show anything until the pattern release. And after I finish working on my shawl, I'm pretty sure I'm going to recast on the mittens that I was knitting. I already have the yarn, and that's what I will do as soon as the shawl is finished. So that is lots of fun. I'm enjoying the daylights out of my shawl. Next, I've been doing some spinning thanks to Amanda, who, like I said, told me I should be working on some other things other than knitting. And I took out my Sticks and String Creations, the wool that she sent me. This was the pencil roving is what it's called. So this is 70% alpaca and 30% merino. It is heaven. It is so luxurious and soft. I love alpaca. I know Rachel from the Hungriest Knitter podcast talked about how it's not one of her favorite fibers because it doesn't drape well. And I know she said that it wasn't one of her favorite, but it's one that I really love it. It's so warm. I think it's much warmer for me personally than a merino. And it's really soft. It's fantastic to spin with. I've never ever spun with, I guess I can show you guys what I've spun with it. So I've spun just a tad, just a bit. And I spun this a little bit thicker than I've ever spun before. So here it is. Bring it a little bit closer. And I loved spinning with this pencil roving. I think it is the easiest prep that I've ever spun with. I think I maybe like it better than even a Rolag, which was crazy because I never thought I would find a fiber prep that I like better than Rolag, because Rolag is completely simple. but with the pencil roving. So it's really thin. It comes, let's see, so thin. And it's so easy. It just makes spinning so easy. And I really wanted to try it. Alpaca is a totally new to me fiber for spinning, and I really love the Sticks and Strings yarn, and I love the colors of this. It's really fun. I think in the end I will make a sweater for Elodie with this, and then a plain yarn, like a solid one colored yarn, like a black or a gray, to go with it, because it's really quite colorful. So that's been fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying spinning. I haven't used my wheel in a really long time, so it was kind of fun to get back to it and sit on it, or not sit on it, but just to spin. Yeah, and that will also be something that's continuing into the handcraft along next month. Before I forget, Sticks and String Creation has a coupon code going on until the middle of June. I think it's June 15th. And she will be giving you a discount with the coupon code MOLLY. Capital M, capital O, capital L, capital L, capital Y. So you can go and check her out on Etsy and see what she has, and you can even request orders from her. Just send her a message of maybe something you'd like her to dye up, and I'm sure she would be completely happy to do it for you. While we're talking about Sticks and String, as well as the knit along, which we've already talked about, I can quick show you those prizes. So it's Rockin' String. It's Rockin' String Creation. I'm so sorry that I've been calling it Stick and String. It's Rockin' String Creation. So with one prize, you will get her roving, a soap from Tuft Woolens, and some buttons from Fascination Studio. The next winner will get this yarn from Rockin' String Creation, and another woolly wash from Tuft Woolen, and these buttons from Fascination Studio. So those are our prizes for the sock knit along. And thank you so much for Rockin' String Creation for donating those to us, as well as Tuft Woolens and Fascination Studio. So wonderful and generous of you guys to send those gifts my way for the wonderful viewers, you guys. Excuse me. I have received some fun things this month. So 2 of them I've purchased. I love these Regia Tweed yarns. They are one of my favorite tweed. I'm pretty sure. And they're just so stunning. They're so beautiful. They're so warm. They knit up so nicely. So this is the Regia Vier Fettig Tweed, and it is in the colorway 00090. And this is how it looks. I love all of the different flecks of color in here. It is so funny because you know that I've told you Robert doesn't want socks anymore unless they're tweed socks. This has been his thing that he's decided. So I told you that I had ordered this yarn from the woman at the wool shop where Robert's parents live, and she said that she would have it the next time we came. So we went there and she had it. And so I picked out this gorgeous color, which I think is exceptionally beautiful. And then I came out to the car and I was like, hey, Robert, look what I got. Would you like some socks out of these? No, no, no. he wants a pair of darker socks, I guess. So like navy or gray, a really, really deep gray, or black, which is fine. I can use these for something for myself. I think they would make gorgeous socks. So I'm not really complaining. Yarn is yarn is yarn. So I will use these to knit a pair of socks for myself, and I'm excited to have a pair of socks for myself out of these because I think they're lovely. I think they're really pretty. I think they have a lot of potential. You can even put a nice cable down the side of these because they're not busy at all. It's just the tweed. And I really love socks with a cable down the side. I designed a pair of socks, oh goodness, I would say in maybe October, November of last year, that had a horseshoe cable, just one on each outer side of the leg, out of a Lene yarn, her Roxanne color, which is a variegated yarn. Not really overly variegated, but very beautiful. And I think this sort of Regia tweed yarn is perfect for a more of a pattern or textured sock. So that's probably what that will become. Whenever I feel like it, I guess. Yeah. My teacup, which I adore. And the saucer is even more beautiful. Whoops. I'm dripping a little bit of water. So these are made in Germany. They're really pretty if you ask me, because you all know I'm a teacup lover. And these were found, I haven't shared this with you guys, but Robert's grandfather died last week, and it was really hard and really sad. And we were gifted some of his grandfather and grandmother's special porcelain. So along with this, they're really special because it has belonged to his family, to his grandmother, to his great-grandmother. There are a lot of stories that I don't know, that go along with these. And this is the first one, I guess, that I will share with you, and there are quite a bit more. Very, very beautiful, stunningly gorgeous teacups and saucers and plates that I feel honored and happy to own and to drink out of and to share with all of you. So here is this one. Like I said, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's plated in 24 karat gold, and then there are these beautiful flowers, and then this pretty texture here, which I just think it's lovely, so delicate and pretty. And I really enjoy drinking out of this one, and I'm thankful that Robert's parents wanted to share them with me, because nobody else in the family, as sad as it is, appreciates finer porcelain or teacups and tea sets. It's nothing that they would ever use. They're very, very modern. Robert's parents and his sister and his brother, who are older than us, and it's nothing they would even appreciate. So I'm happy, because that would have been very, very sad for these teacups to have been tucked in a cupboard and to have never been used and to have possibly been thrown away. So I'm happy that I can share them with you, and I'm happy that I can drink out of them and appreciate them myself, and that Robert can maybe see them and think about his grandmother and grandfather. And it's nice that this and these stories are being passed on, and I can make new stories with these teacups and new fun memories, which is neat. So those are these beautiful teacup and saucer. So I didn't even mean to talk about that, but I guess it kind of has to do with little things that I've received this month. The next thing that I've received is, you guys probably think I'm crazy with all of these Knit Pro needles lately, but I received this week my Knit Pro 8-inch double point needle set. So here it is. I've already opened it up, as you can see. These are gorgeous. I freak out every time I'm using and just seeing. I don't know why I love my Knit Picks Pro set so much. I could like fondle them kind of all day, in maybe kind of a weird way. Not a weird way actually, but I love them. They're the most fantastic things to knit. I could go on about them forever, but I already have, so I won't. And I love these. I adore these. I'm excited to have them, to be able to use them. The next thing, and the only thing now that I'm missing from Knit Pro, are their straights. And I'm really wishing that I had their straights now. Although I don't really ever use straights. I just use them, like, for example, for my Cozy Memories blanket, which, as I've been knitting on it, I've really, really been wishing that I had a pair of straight Carbons needles, because I'm using my Clover bamboo needles, which work fine as well. But the Knit Pro needles are just so fantastic. They're so fun to work with. They're so lightweight, as are the Clover bamboos. But I'm just in love with the Knit Pro needles. I think they're fantastic. I can't say anything more about them. I have nothing negative to say. They're the perfect knitting needle, in my opinion. I got this. So I love, this has nothing to do with knitting, and I'm kind of doing this out of order. I should have talked about this when I talked about my teacup, because I'm drinking coffee in my teacup. This is very common. I would say I'm drinking 80% coffee, 20% tea in my life. I'm 100% more of a coffee lover than I am a tea lover. I really like tea, don't get me wrong. I love to drink it, but coffee is where my heart is. I love coffee. I really love, since I've moved to Germany, I've really started to appreciate flavored coffees. Or I guess I've really started to appreciate coffees that aren't flavored, because flavored coffees are not a popular thing here at all. They're nothing that you buy unless you go to like a Starbucks, which is obviously not German. And nobody here drinks flavored coffee. I don't even know where I would buy flavored coffee beans if I wanted. So whenever my parents, I've mentioned this before, whenever they send a package, or whenever they come, like they were here, for 2 weeks, they will bring or send coffee. So my parents sent along 2 pounds of coffee. And the first one they sent was a caramel chocolate truffle, which was actually from my grandma Sue. Thank you very much. And then the second one they sent was a Highlander Grog coffee, which my dad picked out. And both of them were gorgeous, so delicious. And you can see how fast we go through coffee, because we mostly drank the coffee after they left. And they've been gone for only a week. And we're almost finished with the 2 pounds of coffee. But while my mom was here, I love these sort of shabby chic, granny chic, kitsch things. I love this. I've mentioned that before, have I not? And my mom bought me this when she was here, and I love this. I know it's something so little, so simple, but my coffee before was in just like a silver coffee container that was airtight, but this screams me. This is something that when I wake up every morning and I make coffee, I'm so excited to open this and see this and drink my coffee. So there's Highlander Grog in there right now, and it smells really good. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So there's that. And then the final thing that I received this month was a little package from one of you. And the package was for my Cozy Memories blanket. So it came from Christina, and this card is just beautiful beyond words. And first of all, take a look. And this was painted by Christina's mother. And Christina's mom has an Etsy shop called Watercolor Tales. So etsy.com/shop/watercolor tales. And she sells these beautiful watercolor paintings. Now, I know that this is a card that Christina sent me, but Christina, I can tell you right now that this is a card that I am going to frame and hang because it's so sweet and it's really pretty. I adore things like this. I would like to collect on my craft room wall paintings and pictures of sheep and of llamas and of goats and of all of those really fun woolly fur babies. I think that sounds like so much fun and so nice to visually look at. But Christina also sent these luxurious skeins. So let's see. These were all, let's read a little bit of this to you. So this is some yarn that she sent for my Cozy Memories blanket. All of these were made from socks that she made for her mother, the woman who made the card. My mom loves my handmade socks, and I usually make her several pairs throughout each year. 2 are alpaca blends, and 1 is merino silk. So I just talked about alpaca, and I can see straight off what is the alpaca blends. I'm guessing these 2 because they have that really nice halo effect. And she sent a lot. Maybe it's just because of the alpaca that it feels so fluffy. And I know a lot of you have asked. It seems like it really depends on the thickness of the yarn, because obviously some yarn is thicker than others, but like this yarn is pretty thick. So the Cozy Memories blanket, the one that I'm knitting, for those of you who want to send, takes anywhere from 4 to 6 grams of wool, those of you who want to weigh it out. But I would love more and more yarn for my blanket. It's so much fun knitting your stories into mine, and like I said, I want to do some swaps with some of you, so I will be posting that on the Ravelry board, just so it's not like I'm getting all this yarn for my Cozy Memories blanket, which I'm sharing with you guys as well on the podcast, but I would love as well to share my stories with some of you to put into your Cozy Memories blanket. So here are these 2. So here's one. Here's the second one. This actually looks really nice with my outfit today. And here's the third one. This one has got to be the merino silk. I would like to know what yarn this is, or who makes it, because it's really, really pretty. All of these are really pretty. So thank you very much, Christina. I appreciate you sending those so much. It was very thoughtful of you, and I'm excited to put your memories into my Cozy Memories blanket. It will be special and lots of fun. The final thing that I wanted to talk about is this book. I showed it when I received it, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about it, especially now that we're going into our handcraft along. And I think spinning, for those of you who have never spun, it's something that you should totally try, because I imagine almost all of you who are watching are knitters or crocheters, but you use yarn. I mean, I imagine that's why you're watching me. And why not take this opportunity for the handcraft along to learn how to spin? Or do anything else if you want. But while we're on the topic of spinning, this book is so fantastic. So it's put out by Interweave Press. It's called Start Spinning, Everything You Need to Know to Make Great Yarn by Maggie Casey. And the photographs in here are very wonderful. They're gorgeous. They're stunning. They're very clear, very well taken. And it really is broken down phenomenally. So it starts off with why you need to learn how to spin. It talks to you about different kinds of wool, maybe things you need to take into consideration before you start spinning. How to spin on a spindle, if that's maybe what you want to start off with, if you're not wanting to go out and purchase a wheel right away. That's a huge investment. That's something I would never do. I started spinning on a spindle first, and it's something that I would recommend. And then it talks about spinning on a wheel and learning how to spin on your wheel. It goes into things after you've already spun, such as knowing how to ply and all of those sorts of things that you need to know for spinning. I'm not going to go in super depth about it. That's mostly all I'm going to say about it. But I wanted to quick share it with you because it's a phenomenal book for those of you who want to learn how to spin. And I think it's really wonderful. So that Start Spinning by Maggie Casey. And take a look at it if you guys are interested in spinning. And if you have more questions about the book, of course I can answer them. Just PM me on Ravelry or write it in the thread. Maybe other people who have the book can answer your questions because it's nice. It's a really good book. I definitely recommend it. But like I said, I don't want to go into too depth because book reviews aren't the most exciting. I just wanted to give you it as a tip. So there that is. Thank you guys so much for spending your Thursday afternoon with me. If you choose to watch this on Thursday, I had a wonderful time chatting with you, and I hope that my weekend is really nice. I hope it goes nice and slowly. For those of you who aren't living in Germany and who don't have a holiday this upcoming weekend or have a 4-day holiday like I do, enjoy your work, the rest of your work week. Enjoy your time with your children, with your families, with yourself, and take some time to relax. Enjoy your weekend, spend some time outdoors, or doing whatever you love. I will see you all next week. Until then.